Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and it is a dangerous thing, dear viewer, leaving your home. You might encounter fantastical adventures and the deadly dragon of the Re2005. Or maybe we just watch Gandalf, a member of the European Canadian, Techies would be the... Wait, which squadron is that? Techies? I am a big fan of the European Canadian. Moreover, I consider him a friend. He's been an inspiration to me, and I enjoy the community that he's built around himself, so it's always nice to see another member of the European Canadian squadrons. If I didn't start my own squadron, I was going to join one of the European Canadian squads. And honestly, that would have been the better idea for me in terms of harvesting that sweet, sweet squadron vehicle research. But I really do love being a friend and mentor to you all that are in AmFaM. So I'll throw up the AmFaM is recruiting highlight and let you guys enjoy some air-to-air combat as Gandalf flies the Re2005 in the skies of War Thunder. And you can see we're already 5 minutes into the match, and so far he continues to climb, taking the high ground, which is by no means a bad idea in any aircraft. The Re2005, from what I can tell, seems to be an effective boom and zoomer along the lines of the BF-109 and the G series that you could compare the Reggiani series to. Other than that, I'm sadly lacking in knowledge on this plane. I haven't flown it out myself, haven't gotten into the Italian air tree for a while. So I'll be interested to see what Gandalf gets up to here. I did watch some of this while I was recording, but there was a lot that I didn't watch because, well, I live a pretty busy life these days with the girls. I have an 8-month-old daughter and a 2-year-old daughter, and the toddler is very busy and mischievous. She's always finding a better way to do everything than what we've shown her, and she's potty training, so she'll be standing in the middle of the kitchen and I hear splattering and then oopsie and I'm just like so then we have a conversation about things I've already taught her about using the potty. But anyway, Gandalf finally turning around now, and again, we're 7 minutes into the match. Welcome to Air RB. This is the meta to fly to high altitude, 8,000 meters. My goodness, Gandalf quite high here, as his team must be encountering the enemy by this point. We see that the Ju-288C, fantastic bomber by the way, has encountered, is that a PB-4Y? Garbage bomber, by the way. The only thing the PB-4Y has going for it when compared with other bombers of its battle rating is defensive guns, and, well, you could make the case for other aircraft, including the Ju-288C, as having better guns. Anyway, now, Gandalf encountering his first enemy, a P-51D, at this very high altitude. We're down to under 7K. As the P-51 goes for a diving loop, he is maneuvering against Gandalf here, but his energy is still high. He can dive away anytime he feels like he's outclassed, and maybe that has given him a touch of hubris, as Gandalf easily cuts off the wing and sends the gray P-47 into the depths below. He underestimated this Techie's Or Tech FS, is that? Is it the Fun Squadron? Are you in the Fun Squad, Gandalf? That's definitely the one to be in, if you ask me. Anyway, in the mood for more kills, Gandalf continues to survey the area, and I gotta say, it's a little bit of an awkward name for me to say, so sorry if I sound a little bit weird. And also, if I sound a little tired, it's pretty late at night, and the house is quiet, so I thought that I would squeeze out this replay video for you all. Gandalf with his first kill, maintaining his altitude, keeping an eye on the battle going on down below. He has a couple of bombers at least on his team, which for Axis teams at this tier is something of a newer development. Generally you find more fighters in the mid BRs for the Axis than other teams. Allied teams tend to have a lot of the fantastic close air support and ground attack variants, even heavy bombers flying at this battle rating, such as the PB-4Y. And yet, that tends to make them less competitive because the Axis fighters outnumber the Allied fighters. Nevertheless, I did some looking into the Mustang, and on Thunderskill, which is not the most accurate gathering of statistics, but it is a public one, on Thunderskill, every version of the Mustang has a solid positive win rate. So, facing off against teams of enemy Mustangs is not an easy, simple task, and indeed, if, unlike this person that Gandalf is facing, you fly your Mustang high speed, high altitude, you're gonna have high scores. But this guy, I don't have his name turned on. It's probably better that way, because he doesn't know how to fly this Mustang. In a flat turn against an Italian fighter, you're gonna lose every single time. You do not want to turn at low speed in a Mustang. Maybe make a single turn, keep your speed up, you'll have a good time. And I have fallen in love with the Mustangs, but looking at the Re2005, looks like a fun aircraft as well. I heard the ka-chugga-chugga of Italian 50 cals, not quite as good as American 50 cals, but they'll do the trick in a pinch when they hit the target. I do believe this aircraft also has some 20 mils, but I'm not sure. And those would likely be the, oh geez, what's the 20 mil called? MG151? Yeah, I think that's right. From the German tech tree. Gandalf now, with a couple of fairly simple kills. His first, a snipe on a looping Mustang at high altitude. His second, a low altitude duel with a flat turning Mustang. His first opponent probably more knowledgeable than his second. Climbing toward an AD4, now diving onto his prey. This is another target that should be fairly simple to take down, especially if the AD4 still has ordnance attached. In the hands of a skilled pilot at low altitude, an AD4 can be a difficult opponent, and yet we see him ground striking. He might not even know that Gandalf is on his tail. Looks like he's using rockets, so those rocket pods are going to weigh him down in the wings even after he's ditched the ordnance, as there's no way to jettison excess hard points, I guess. Gandalf taking his first pass with plenty of energy to get onto, or to stay on the tail of the 84, actually overshoots here. I would have pulled up a little bit sooner, but everybody has their own style. And look at how tightly, how cleanly the Re2005 performs in a fairly low speed loop. That was quite nice. And by low speed, of course, we're talking under 300 miles per hour. So medium speed, if you will. It has some very tight, nice handling, and the guns, as you can see, can deliver the good news to the enemy in a reliable and efficient manner. So if you're wondering, by the way, this is not a spaded vehicle. Gandalf said this was half spaded. It hasn't completed its transformation to the white Re2005 yet. And yet, lacking a Balrog to face, this nimble fighter with decent amount of power potential seems to do fairly well. Gandalf flying it in a very similar manner than that I would, regaining his altitude as he waits for more targets to appear. He's not scanning the area quite as much as I've taken to doing, and yet maybe he knows something I don't. I see a dot down there, looks like an enemy aircraft. Is he going to turn in toward it or see how things develop? He is aware, and I've just noticed little differences between the way that I would fly and the way our man Gandalf does. And that's always interesting because I get a chance to learn and compare my own style with someone else's. Some tactics are better than others, and sometimes you're just allowed to have your own style. And I gotta say, in terms of Gandalf's performance here, looking good so far. He's been allowed to miss a few shots with the ammo complement of the Re2005 and the punchiness of its guns. Its good maneuverability and handling in a turn has come through for him. So he's been allowed to miss a few shots, as you do when you're getting a feel for an aircraft. Keep in mind, Gandalf hasn't finished spading this one yet, so it's going to be a while before he has a good feel for how this airplane flies and how the guns in particular shoot. Overall, he's had a good time. Now, another target showing up, a Spitfire. This could be a different beast to handle. Thankfully, Gandalf has a lot more energy, as we also see an enemy B-17. Allied bombers a lot more popular than Axis bombers in general, and the Spitfire can potentially turn with the Re2005, drain him of his energy, and take him down in a prolonged dogfight. So you definitely want to use that altitude advantage. Gandalf now turning his altitude into speed to zoom underneath the Spitfire, hopefully F model, okay. Hopefully he'll be able to take him down in 1 or 2 passes. I would have gone for a little bit more vertical against the Spitfire here just to get a tad more energy. But again, everybody has their own style of flying. Gandalf here sticking tightly onto the tail of the Spitfire, trying to turn with him and being out-turned a bit. Now is a good time to go a little bit more vertical. Spitfires don't perform all that well in the vertical at this battle rating. Now they're going into a barrel. The Spitfire not quite so effective at out-turning the Reggiani if there's a little bit more vertical mixed in and Gandalf gets his guns on target. Keep in mind that the replay is just a tad behind the live gameplay, so he was able to keep up with the Spitfire in a barrel maneuver. That's all the name I have for that one, but you see how it is. It's like they're flying inside a barrel. I would have, if I was the Spitfire, gone for a lower altitude dogfight and tried to turn in the horizontal against the Reggiani, the Spitfire having the initiative there. In that case, Gandalf may have had a little bit more trouble taking down the foe, as Spitfires are notorious turn fighters. And yet there are aircraft, that can outturn the Spitfire, especially the Model F, as it's not the most powerful Spitfire. That would go to the higher BR Spits, which can be very tough to take down. The American Spitfire LF Mark 9, a fantastic example of the danger tier Spitfire. But all of that is conjecture. That Spit probably didn't use the most effective maneuvers to take down a maneuverable enemy fighter such as the Re2005, but he learned something today, or he had the chance to learn. You're not going to beat a Reggiani in a barrel maneuver. You got to try something else. And that's something that I've encountered a lot in realistic battles in War Thunder. You have a lot of chances to learn new tactics, better tactics, alternative tactics, and especially in Air RB, you can get a feel for an enemy aircraft and find out what works and what doesn't. It's a little bit more consistent than in things like ground battles, where awareness and positioning can make so much more of a difference. In fact, when I get tired of being shot by people from out of nowhere, I fly in the skies of War Thunder. Gandalf, having a good time in this match, having already picked up an ace, has spotted his 6th target, and he must still have ammunition because he's not going for the airfield. Only a few minutes left in the match. Well, about 5 minutes. And we've had a nice time. Not too many difficult opponents. The Spitfire, definitely dangerous, but Gandalf came in with a bit more energy and enough maneuverability to take down the Spit in the maneuvers that he was using. I'd be interested to pit my own Spitfires against the Re2005 and see how it turns out. I think that would be a good fight, and a good fight is well worth going for in the skies of War Thunder. Sits on the tail of the P4Y2 just long enough. Is that what it's called? Just long enough to shoot it down. And even though it's a massive airplane, it falls to pieces like it's made out of tissue paper, the way that all bombers in the game do at this time. Well, almost all bombers. Especially, again, when faced with German style 20 mils. We're over in an airfield. Should we land, resupply, or go for the next guy? Another enemy spotted. 6 kills already. Can we get a 7th F4U with a bit more altitude? That could be a challenge. F4U comes in, coming in hot. Gandalf with some nice defensive maneuvers, flying inverted for a moment. Airfield AA opens up on the F4U. Gandalf with a shot at the enemy. And yet, what's he doing? F4U still on the map. I'm not exactly sure what that last maneuver was all about. Did Gandalf lose sight of the enemy for a moment? Not sure. The dot fades away. Did the AA take down that F4U in so little time? I think there's been a bit of a buff to Airfield AA lately. It feels like it's become more accurate, more deadly with this last major update. It was manageable in the past. That wasn't even the main airfield. My God. Apologies to that F4U pilot. But that's going to do it for this match. Gandalf with 6 kills in the Reggiani 2005. A pleasant flight, a fun excursion. Oh, hold on a second. That F4U's not dead. Anyway, Gandalf isn't going to get him, and the match is going to end without Gandalf getting a 7th kill. But in any event, as things wind down here, let's see what happens. Sorry if I spilled the beans. Head on with an F4U. My goodness, that is hazardous. The Corsair sticking to Gandalf. I would have pulled a little bit different maneuver there against the F4U. I would have pulled hard and dipped under his guns, but already outturning the Corsair. And yet, there he goes. Main airfield AA takes down the F4U in about 10 seconds. As you do. Airfield AA, very deadly with this update. That'll do it for the match, and that'll do it for this video. Gandalf, thanks for sending in the replay, and much love to all the European Canadian squadrons. Tell your squad mates, I love to show replays on this channel, and I actually got my start from the European Canadian featuring my replay. on his channel a few times. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.